I gave this big presentation for kids and parents when we started out the school year, and I really compared the traditional system to a train, where there's the important thing with the train business is the schedule. You have a time when it departs, you have a time when it ends, the stations don't move, you're going to travel this particular ground, and that's the end of it. Students that come in the middle of a term, guess what? That train's not going to slow down for you. You better jump on. You have to leave, you're going to jump off. If you miss any part of it, you're just going to go back and have to wait at the terminal until another class starts, and you're going to start right at the beginning. And traditional school's kind of like that, you know. The teachers got, I've done it many times myself. I have a kid that'll go through 70% of the class but hasn't done enough to where they can pass. Then they have to, you know, leave school for a time, or maybe they just have a very bad final month of the semester and they end up failing out, and maybe they get a 58, you know, and we don't give them a credit, so now they need to start over again. Well, traditionally, where we'd always start them is day one, lesson one, let's learn vocabulary and the terms. The kid's way past that. So 3 weeks into it, they're tuned out, behavior issues start up again, they're not interested in learning the stuff you're teaching. And then you have all those challenges that come about. The way I've tried to design this is that the student picks up wherever they're at. You know, they say, hey, this is what I know, and this is how far I've come, and I can prove it to you, and then let me go from there. I'll start learning from that point.
In a class like last year, my first 5 years, I've had to teach to the middle. I've got to kind of pull the kids who are slow, keep them going and pulling them, and then the kids are learning advanced and too fast, I have to curb them back, and so I'm stuck teaching to the middle. That's ignoring the needs of half of the class, the advanced ones and the ones who are needing that kind of slower paced. Something needs to be done, because students really who are struggling aren't learning anything. When you push them on, they're not learning anything. They're going to kind of learn a little bit, they're going to barely do it, and they're going to get a low grade every time. Every once in a while you'll see them catch on to something when it gets to their topic that they're comfortable with. But how effective is that? Pushing them and getting them through the lesson and the day and the week and the month. But how effective is that? By the end of the year, they've kind of learned just a little. I said, how many of you feel like you've kind of learned a little bit in a lesson, and then the next day you move to something completely different, and you're scrambling, you're trying to learn that, and then the next day it's something new again, you got to learn that, and how many of you went through that and basically didn't learn anything the whole year? Half the hands go up. And then the other students. How many of you were waiting in class and the teacher was reviewing something and I already know this, come on, move on, and you can't move on. You have to sit and wait, and then the teacher, let's see that one more way, and again.
If you're more advanced, and I do have an advanced student, and more advanced, they have to wait. They get bored because the other kids aren't up to par. You know, we have to, oh my God, again. And so I like that idea of that you can progress at your own speed. It works well. You know, to me, as a parent, I like that idea.
All children learn at different rates. Some kids get things really fast, some kids take a little bit longer to get different subjects, and so individualized learning really helps children to get the facts that they need to get at their own pace. Because some children, it's not that they're not intelligent, it's not that they can't do it, it's just that it's going to take them 4 more exposures before they understand it. And so individualizing your teaching methods means that you're giving each child as many exposures as it takes to get the concepts that they need to get.
Well, my 5th grader, math was not a real strong suit. So she struggled a little bit in school, which means if you're struggling, you don't have a real strong interest to wanting to continue doing it, and you don't want to really study hard for it. You know, it's work. It's not It's not enjoyable.
I spent a lot of time in the first several weeks of this school year just letting kids work on that and feeling good about what they were doing and never mentioning that they're not earning any high school credit. You know, I didn't want to ruin that for them because they were in a moment where they were going, hey, I got 12 masteries this week, you know, and we just celebrate that. You know, great, you know, congratulations, you got all these masteries. But at some point I had to kind of break the news to them, you know, guess what? You're doing great stuff and you need to keep doing it, and your focus needs to be right where it is. Keep working on it. But I can't give you high school credit for learning about fractions and ordering them. You're just not at a high school level right yet. But you're gonna get there. You're getting closer, you know, and then the kids start to ask that question, well, what do I need to do to get the credit, you know? And I hate that day. I don't want kids to be focused on, well, I just want to do something to get credit. It seems that most traditional classes I was involved in before, that's all kids cared about. Do I have to do this? Is it going to be for credit? And this whole year mostly has been the opposite. You know, as much as possible, it's this. Okay, what can I learn? You know, I get to learn whatever I want. Okay, well, this is what I want to learn. And okay, great, keep learning it. You know what? That's math. Keep going.
I had no clue. I was told we were going to do this, and I was like, okay. And I had absolutely no clue what it was going to do when I first began. Part of the grant was that we got iPads. I had never used one before. So I had to come in and learn how to use all the iPads. It's been a real growth for me as well, because I had to stay 2 steps ahead of all the kids. And so when we got on Khan Academy and they got seeing what it was, and that the kids got excited because they were successful, which some of the kids had never been in math before. And I could see how I could differentiate my classroom. The first couple of weeks were really overwhelming because just trying to get all the technology to work correctly, and for me to learn how to get the iPads to work correctly at the right time and get into the right apps and to get everything functioning the way it was supposed to, that was a big challenge. But I knew no matter what new thing you get into, it's a learning curve. And so I knew that we were going to hit a lot of glitches, and so I talked to the kids before we started this and told them what we were going into, and they were great, and they worked with me. And getting everybody onto Khan Academy, you know, at first, the first couple of kids I enrolled, it was really a struggle to get them started, but once I got it going, it was easy enough program that we just rolled right through it. And once I could get all the kids on, it took us a couple days to get all the kids on to the program, which was fine. We eventually succeeded, and were successful, and the kids have never looked back since. It was worth it. It was definitely worth it. It took a lot of time to begin with, but now the kids just jump on. If they have 5 minutes, they're like, Miss Bull, I want on Khan Academy, and I'm like, go. I have talked to a couple of teachers that have been around longer than I have, not in this school, but another school. And we got into a really good discussion, and then he's saying, well, how do you do this? How do you do this? I'm like, well, that's what I use Khan Academy for. That's how I have that time to work with those individual students. This is how I have time to do this. You know, this gives them the opportunity for the additional practice. And he was like, oh. He says, I guess I better look up Khan Academy and get a little more familiar with it. I guess I need to look that up. And he was more open to it at that point.
Our future is technology, whether we like it or not. That's where we're going. But we need to make sure that we're keeping that contact. And so we can do that through technology, give the kids the assignments, and then you can get that one-on-one contact, which I think is very, very valuable to move at the student's pace.
I've taught here, this is my 12th year, and you know, we've had the ISAT and then and it's changed twice in different tests, and we've usually been pretty strong on our math scores all the way, you know, because we're K through 12, which makes us unique because we can align our curriculum, and so we've been pretty strong, and I didn't want to just throw out everything that I've, you know, done in the past because I feel like it's been working, but I'm excited about, you know, technology and change, and this program, I've just been using it every other week, and so we've been trying to spend the whole week immersing them in it and get as far as we can, and I would say 1/3 to 1/4 of my students have been doing it at home or outside of school, and I do have 3 students that I'm using that is so they are on it every day. That's what we've been doing, and one of them is a junior in high school, and she did not pass her math ISAT last year, as a sophomore, which was required to graduate. And she, we put her on that, and she went up almost 20 points on her, passed the math ISAT, just took it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. What we see, we think that it's going to help those kids because they're all at different levels and the things that they're struggling with.
I got a lot of kids that came over here from our junior high school because they weren't proficient in math and they couldn't go on to the traditional high school. So they had taken 8th grade math and failed it. Then they took it again in summer school and they failed it again. Then they came over here to be in 9th grade and they want them to take 9th grade level math, you know. They're not gonna pass it. They just failed 8th grade again 6 weeks earlier. Kids will roll over here the day they find out they're pregnant or the day they got arrested. That's not on a schedule at all. And I get kids rolling in here, enrolled in my class, and it's totally unplanned and unexpected. So I needed a system that said, all right, don't just drop them in my class for 3 weeks and then I fail them and then we start over again. Let's let them start, let's figure out where they're at, and let them start learning and work on the learning. In terms of helping kids that you know, have always failed, one of the most exciting things for me was taking those first 9th grade kids and telling them, guess what? I'm not gonna fail you. I don't care. You're not getting an F because I don't give them out anymore. You're not gonna get an F in my class. The only grades you're gonna get are A, B, C, or I for incomplete. So you just keep working. Don't worry about that you're gonna fail. Don't worry about, I'll run interference with your parents. I'll help them understand that you're not at grade level yet, so you haven't earned the credit that you need, but you're still working on it. And we'll get your parents' support, you have my support, and we'll get you there. To hear the kids that have persisted, you know, really pushed through, to hear them now talking about, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Why did this take us so long? You know, why did we spend 6 weeks just getting through that first unit? And now I'm going through a unit like every few days. Why is that? You're becoming a better student. You're becoming smarter. You know, you're learning how to learn. You've learned how to learn. You're not going to be able to anticipate the impact that you can have with every kid in your class by introducing different tools. You know, I would encourage you, no matter where you're at and what experience you've had with Khan, to make sure that you at least introduce students to it, get them familiar with it, let them see what's there, because some are gonna love it, even if the rest aren't, and even if you decide it's not the most important part of your day.